Free them on, free them on. All right.
Tell me the first three numbers.
For Daphne.
Yeah.
Let me go back into my. Hold on a second.
929.
No, that's the radio number. Yeah, my fault. Yeah, 929-477.
3785.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, right on. Just loop right back at y'all, right on.
Please hold and you will listen to the show. You are now in the
Okay, Sister Conrad, I'm ready as soon as you. I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded. Right on, Conrad, right on. Somebody listens to Conrad, know that we ready, locked and loaded. Okay, don't worry about it.
live and direct.
Live and direct. Yes, sir. Yes, okay. I'm telling the brother, we going this here, sir. Okay, we going this is Conrad Queen. Okay, I'm talking to my brother, and I say, sir, over here, Intellectual Radio. I was talking to my sister, Comrade Queen Daphne, on that end. In other words, we going double breasted, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We come from Freedom on Radio. We Intellectual Radio. We on, matter of fact, we on StreamYard. We on Instagram. So we'll be coming to you two tin cans and string if need be, because it is so intense. It is so intense. Yeah, so we got to come every which way, including Deuce. So we coming into everything, including the kitchen sink. Let's get locked and loaded for another episode of Freedom on Radio here, Intellectual Radio. You know what I'm saying? We got Comrade Queen Daphne on the boards. This is a weekly episode hosted by yours truly, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and Robert Allen, aka the Lady of Rage. Let's get locked and loaded. Let's make history. Let's take history. Let's take history. First and foremost, I'm self-critical for coming in a few minutes late. We're going to say quality time outweigh quantity time. Ball of confusion. Time's a ball of confusion, y'all. This is the day and age when if you get a comic, if you think you got a comic cold, you don't know if you should reach for the cold syrup or get dressed for a casket. These are serious times, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So again, we stakes are high. Code red in regards to African anti-terrorism bill. Let's get straight into it. You know what I'm saying? Let us send our regards to the immediate family, to the community, to the people. Uncle Rashidi, African historian, and in fact, we're looking forward to others to call in and give us some more details. The direct contact with the brother. You know what I'm saying? I was not fortunate enough to meet him face to face. Those I would come in contact with, you know what I'm saying, even some our comrades who have hosted, in fact, our Central Committee in Oakland, a number of events with him. And those who I come in contact with or not come in contact with, you know what I'm saying, how he, the impact, not just their lives in a subjective way, but just, you know what I'm saying, in an objective way. And that's the deal, you know what I'm saying, because the deal is, a lot of times we talk about who we met personally, so on and so forth, but the deal is to make a dent in history, and make a dent in this system, make a mark in this machine that impacts to the point that transcends geographical, generational, and gender lines. In other words, uh, the stakes are too high just to say, okay, that was my homie, or someone that you just knew in your immediate family. That we can leave some lessons that people can relate to. You know what I'm saying? That, again, that even if they take some, they change certain dynamics cosmetically and move things around. You can say, wait a minute, this is the core of what we're dealing with. And this is we've seen how people dealt with this before. In other words, we lay an objective template, a hit that even if you say, well, I'm from Detroit, I never been to Africa, well, I'm 14, I never, I never made it to that particular age, but there are consistencies in particular that the colonized community endures. There are consistencies that we endure, and we try to grab those different dynamics. That we can say, okay, how can we, what can we take to say, okay, how does how this can relate to our people in the past, present, and definitely the future? As late great Field Marshal George Jackson says, we are fighting for the unborn, living, and the dead. We are fighting for the unborn, the living, and the dead. You know, I said in the poem before, and I'm paraphrasing because that's even a lot of my own poems, I don't even remember the words, but when questioned, how does it, in regards to Chairman Fred, how does it feel to be sired by you, to be loved by the people and sweated by the you know who? Deal is, I learned lessons from his legend of what a man was supposed to be. I learned lessons from his legend of what a man was supposed to be. And the deal is, as we say, a legacy is more important than your life. A legacy is more important than your life. People say, man, forget that. I'm just here for a certain amount of time. Because especially with the colonized community, because the reality is we are deprived of such conversations as generational wealth. And people say, well, we just it's on us. We need to pass resources down. We face conditions like mothers putting up their homes, taking out second and third mortgages to bond their sons and daughters out. We are faced with contradictions that that ever developing, whether it's term of war on gangs or war on guns or war on drugs, that just even be in contact to know who our offspring are, our grandchildren, great grandchildren are. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the such dynamics as the foster care system, um, various forms of chemical biological warfare. As we speaking in real time, as we speak now. I mean, literally, as of today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's to say? What you know what I'm saying? Those who will physically be alive, who will be familiar with what happened before them. That being said, let's get straight into it, y'all. Let's get straight into it. I know we got some callers in queue. Let's get right into it. So we talking about what's happening with the indigenous community, Tiny House Warriors, for comrades, colonels, and others who've been getting down in regards to the land question. Resistance ain't dead. Cats still fighting back from the black community, the red community, so on and so forth. We're talking about what's going down. So with a phenomenal move, Cassandra Greeley, and the bus, just Nicholas Lee, Justice for them all, they mobilized right down to Logan prison, Logan concentration camp, the women's prison, I might add. You know what I'm saying? And the move to mobilize that she in conjunction with the campaign for justice for Nicholas Lee, justice for them all, to go right there to the front door, right there to the barbed wire, right to the brick walls of Logan, take it right to the doorstep. I mean, right there where the wardens came out, where the state troopers came out, and with no compromise. We came to see about our people down here. Wasn't no sidetracking about what are they locked up for? What's the situation? Came to see, in the spirit, as we said, with the one prisoner, one contact, literally up and ante, going right to them doors, right to the doorsteps. So right on. We should have our brother Ken's be calling in hip hop fraternity. We don't talk about what that posting called in last week. We had miscommunications, some miscommunication. But we say, hey, so we do it. And Giants ain't gonna triple no minors. So we're gonna follow with that. So with that being said, y'all feel free to call in. Or better yet, we say Cub in, the Spirit of Black Panther Party Cubs, 929-477-3785. I'm on the phone right now, so you can't do the 708 number. But in the future, remember that number 708-223-8953. Y'all tag somebody with this here. Y'all call somebody with this here. Let them know. Like and subscribe on Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. on YouTube Live. Share it, put the word out. What programs we're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, y'all. Let's make history. Let's take history. Let's take history. Sister Comrade Daphne, who you got any callers in queue?
Brother Chairman, we have a sister from Logan on the line.
Wow. Free them all. You can't make this up. That's what it is. Welcome. We just got to speak about Logan. I got another force. Just give me here's a P online too. I'm bring him in a minute. My brother C. Solomon. We just I got go. Let me get straight to this here. No further delay. Those who are not familiar with Logan, who may be outside the Illinois area, those who were held captive in Illinois prisons, concentration camps. We recall when we hear about Logan Dixon, automatically, saying, well, Dixon was the co-ed with men and women, and this is something that sometimes people subjectively dismiss about the fact that the amount of women that are locked up. You know what I'm saying? But again, Logan, we just literally came from down there, and I got a call. We get a call from you, later that day. But what's going on? This is not your first time on Freedom on Radio. You've been talking about even the bill that's been in regards to the parole, bring parole back. But bring us up to speed. What's going on behind the walls?
Well, what's going on behind the walls is that it's the same shit, different toilet. They're telling us one thing and doing another. They're promising us days and they're not giving them to us. Sentencing is holding a lot of us back from getting credit. Doing the majority of our time, I'm under 85%, and I have to serve 85% of my time before I'm eligible for any type of days. They only give them to people that are short timers or the people that are going to reoffend to keep the doors open, to keep it revolving in and out. There are ways that we can help, though. Everybody can have their family go to restorejusticeillinois.org. And we need people to start meeting with our state representatives and state senators and support these bills. Support your loved ones coming back into the community. There's a bill right now. It's for the state's attorney to resentence you. It just got passed, and there's a task force that's being submitted immediately. It's going in effect immediately for them to have retired judges, state troopers, all types of walks of life to advocate for you, even advocates to basically say that they support parole coming back to Illinois and trying to get us back to our community. You can have your state's attorney resentence you at any time come January 2022. They're doing it by the oldest case to the newest. We don't know what the criteria is, but it's basically for your rehabilitation while you're incarcerated and your background. What have you done with yourself while incarcerated?
Question.
It is a law, so we're just waiting for it to take effect and to actually hit us. A lot of these laws that go into effect, they are not retroactive, meaning that it doesn't apply to people that are already incarcerated. So we just sit here. They just did in 2019, they did parole for juveniles if you caught a case and you're 19. They're eligible for parole after serving either 25% of the sentence or 20 years of a murder. So with us sitting here that have 20, 30, 40 years already under our belt, now we have nothing to look forward to because there's people that are under the old law, the 50% law, but then you have newcomers like me, I'm under 85%. So I'm eligible for parole if it will be implemented immediately.
Question. Two questions. What is this law again in regards the resentencing? What bill is this?
I'm sorry, you breaking up?
What bill? What is the bill? What is the law? What is the bill that's being brought back up in regards, in particular about the state's attorney or the judge can resentence you? What is it? What is the name of the law? What is the name of the bill?
It's a law. It's a public act.
Public Act.
Right here. It's Senate Bill 2129, and it says that this initiative was led by the Cook County State's Attorney State's Office, and it provides resentencing shall reopen the defendant's conviction. Challenges would not be barred. So basically, they can give us less time. They cannot give us no more time.
That was my second question. Right on.
It did pass the law, but I don't have the public act.
Okay. Okay.
That was my recommendation of the state's attorney.
Right on. That was my second question. So okay, good. So just for clarity, so you go back up. We don't want to go on shooting the dice and come, come out, craps. Let me now, being that Illinois, so is this for each respective county, is like Randolph County, Thompson County. So is it just? So the respective prisoners goes right back into the same county state's attorney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just want clarity on that.
Remember the county you were sentenced to?
Yes. Do you have to go back do you go back to the same particular? Do they put you? Is it the same particular the same particular state's attorney and judge, or is it open for the state's attorney's office in general? Okay.
Send us to the same state's attorney that locked us up, because of course they're the ones that had it out for us.
Right.
Okay. They have to have, like, that's where the task force comes in.
Got you. So
retired judges, retired police officers, those are the people that are going to be on that committee. Are basically going to look at people's cases, and that is what we need. We need people like our listeners. We need the supporters. We need everybody that is for everybody coming back into the community to help us, because all you're doing is your house. That's it.
Is there okay, even while this is going on, is there a way that we can still push that we have some actual civilians, some people? I mean, saying, like similar to like the fight on the police on police accountability, because I mean that we always face that contradiction about placing the same police and law enforcement officials on the boards. I mean, while we as Franz Fanon say, accept the concessions but not compromise our principles. Can we still? Is there some way we can still mobilize? Like put it, like an ad note. We pushing for Senate Bill 2129. However, but we want to push also for some community accountability. Is there something we can also ease up in the legislation?
That's how we get involved. That's how we make sure that we are the ones that are on the committee.
Okay.
Right. Our loved ones are the victims of the cases that no longer pose a threat. Like, we no longer pose a threat to the victim.
Yes. Okay, but that's going to but still the state's attorney and the judge is hearing it. I'm talking about like the deciding factor. We want to also push for some people, some civilian or people to be on a board. You follow what I'm saying? Okay, that's what I'm saying. So we can push, go with this.
How we would get on the board?
Yes.
I don't know how we would get on the board. All I know is that when you go to For Justice Illinois and the Illinois Prison Project, that they have people that are on those boards,
yes,
those committees. Those are the people that we need to reach out to. That those are the people that support us incarcerated. Right
on. We go with that, and I recommend we also send to the respective state legislators, state representatives, also pushing for though we'll take this concession. I'll push for our principle that we have that the people that we have civilian, civilians and people from the respective communities, not just voting on it, but actually on the board, making this in the decision, making capacity. Right on.
Correct.
Right on.
Oh. We also need people like right now the parole org, that's the organization that they reached out to you last time.
Yes.
And they were telling everything about parole. We need people to support them also, because that are pushing for And November we go back legislation, and they're gonna vote. See that lady, her majority vote. She's the majority leader. I can't remember her first name, but it's Greenwood. I know that's her last name, and she is the majority leader. So we need her so we can get the support of the rest of the legislature.
Got you. Right on. Got you. Okay, great. We reiterate that. I got you.
The sex offenders out.
Say it again.
You know, they do those carve-outs, and they take out the sex offenders, or they take out some Class X felonies.
Mm-hmm.
The last time that they met, they wanted to take out the sex offenders, and if it would affect a couple hundred people but help a couple thousand people, why not? And we'll work on something else for the group of people that it doesn't affect.
I got you. Another question I want to ask you real quick. Okay. So before you roll on reiterate those names again, that bill again also, but just how did you? What was the response to the people coming down to the prison to the caravan to come to? Yeah. Can you hear me?
We were put on lockdown. We didn't know what was happening.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all coming out. That was great support. It's always love when somebody from the outside is showing support and showing love to us.
Right on.
Because a lot of times we forget about the people that are out there because we don't get to see it.
Yes.
So I encourage anybody that has a loved one locked up, reach out to them, write them, send them some pictures, send them an email, because that support can change their whole day.
Right on. We commend you for your consistency. Anything else before we lose the call? You any more updates or contact information you want to give us?
You want my contact?
So be it's come on with it. We had the One Prison One Contact campaign, or anything you want people. Whatever you want to get put out. Okay, we live and direct, y'all. That's direct from behind the walls, y'all. Direct from behind the walls. We making history, taking history, and taping history, y'all. That's what it is, y'all. We just let's update the women's prison down in local. We just came from down there. Again, Senate Bill 2129. Before we leave out, we will reiterate some things we want to put in there. You know what I'm saying? Some other points. So, comrade, I know I got a few. I get Ken online, get C online. Bring us up today on this caller in Q.
Free them all, Brother Chairman. Brother Ken is on the line. Free them all.
Sure, you're right. Right on. Free them all.
Hey, what up, brother?
You, my brother, how you feel? Welcome to Free Them All Radio. Yes, sir. You hear you loud and clear.
Hey.
Good to hear you.
How you doing, Brother Fred?
I'm well on this end. For those, again, just want to officially welcome you to Free Them All Radio. Hip hop fraternity community on that end. I know I don't want to draw any foregone conclusions that people know where y'all based at. So, even who you are, you know what I'm saying? So I want to open the doors, open the microphone up for you, you know what I'm saying, get straight in with the introduction. You know what I'm saying? The airways are open. We had some electrical problems earlier, but we live and direct in the spirit of making history, taking history, and taping history. This is a weekly program we put on, hosted by myself, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., and Robert Allen, a.k.a. the Lady of Rage. I was fortunate enough to touch down with you when I was in Atlanta a few weeks back. And when my nephew, Young Bleed, had called me last minute. A lot of information in regards to the music industry, you name it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of information. So I just want, you know what I'm saying, just again, welcome you and open the doors, you know what I'm saying, let us know who we got here. I know people may be familiar with you in different arenas, different eras of time. But if you can, give us a background, who we have online with us tonight, and bring us up to speed. What you got going on right now?
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, 2759 South Federal. Grew up in the Robert Taylor, then eventually moved out to 130 Jeffrey the Minus, and born Cook County Hospital. I had my first run in at the law at 14. Got attempted murder, which was I was falsely accused, and first got beat for youngest person ever to put on his brother every after 3 months, you know, as 14-year-old kid. And then after that, my father said we had to move to Milwaukee. So we moved to Milwaukee. And once we moved to Milwaukee, that's when I began a life of crime, in and out of, you know, military school. Eventually, and I got into the pimp game at 16, became a notorious pimp, and eventually, you know, over the period of my career, I became one pimp in the country. Did this documentary called Pimps to Hold Down. I had my father ridiculed me and cursed out the damn fool I was to get on TV and expose myself. At the point, I ended my career, and I went from the ghetto street to the ghetto street. You know, I ended up writing 2 books, one called The 40 Game, another called The Art of Getting Chess. And now I'm a literary agent for the same company I wrote books for. I just signed Bootsy, I just signed Ice-T, and I signed Corey Wise, the guy from Central Park.
Central Park, yes.
Work on the book with Master. And so, you know, basically, you know, all of that, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, you get this new person, you know, a lot of people, you know, when you say, you know, your name Pimpin' King, you know, it intimidates people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you change your life, you know, people don't want you to change your life. Mm-hmm. If you don't change your life, they say, look, he's a bad guy. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember I was on I think 97 years ago, my first changed my life, and a guy from King of New York, you know, he was asking me, you know, why would you change? I said, if I walked up into the studio with a pistol and I told you to break yourself, you know what I mean, you would say I'm a ruthless criminal. Mm-hmm. But now I'm walking in here with books, and I'm walking in here, I changed my life. You don't even want to give me credit for changing my life. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, you know, they despise you. You know, irrespective to, you know, they want you to change, they despise when you change. So, you know, now we're doing the hip-hop fraternity. That's the event that you came and spoke to, and we thank you. You spoke so eloquently. You know, you gave the brothers a good education, told them about your father, and so on and so forth. I really appreciate you, Chairman Fred. So now we have the Hip Hop Fraternity, which is an organization which is considered a black think tank. I'm the CEO. I got Ice-T on my board. I got Mystical on my board. I got Bayback Music on my board. You know, we got a lot of influential people on my board. You know, a lot of people that have espoused us, like Lil Bootsy, Tigger, Young Bleed, we got Goody Mob. They all a part of the organization. You know, we got about 1,000 strong in Atlanta. We got about 3,000 strong worldwide. You know, basically, you know, our concept is, you know, our mission statement is love, peace, and respect. You know, and we want to bring all of the people in the industry together under one umbrella. Everybody works simultaneously for one common cause. That's the upliftment of all of humanity for our people. You know, a lot of our people, you know, we have been, you know, blindsided, we've been raped, pilfered, and robbed, and everything taken from us in the music industry. Like I often give the analogy, Brother Fred. I said, you know, if I walk up to you, I give you $100 bill. I said, well, Fred, give me a record deal. You say, okay, Ken, I'm gonna give you $15 out the $100. I'm gonna keep $85. That's inappropriate behavior, but that's what our young people do all the time. They get 15 cents on a record. So that means that they sell 15% on the record. They sell 1 million records, don't get 150,000. They're captive, you know, because they slave masters. They're captives, you know what I'm saying? They get 850,000. You see what I'm saying? So, but if I walk through the street, I say, go $1,000 on Rolls Royce, if you pay $300, but you say, man, get the hell up out of here. Mm-hmm. If you'd be better off taking $1,000, because $1,000 would be a better percentage if you took 15%, because you only lose $299,000 with the deal with the record label. You lose $850,000. So you know, we just try to get brothers on the proper course to teach them about blockchain, teach them about NFC technology, trying to teach them about the ASCAP and BMI and about publishing, you know, and how to set up the LLC, how to, you know, get your copyright, how to get your license. And just various things that they need to know, and know that they are businessmen. You know, you are businessmen. Once you get into the record industry, you enter into the record business. So you have to have comprehension. You can't get nobody out the project and expect them to understand all of this legal need. Mm-hmm. You know, there's students from these lawyers from Harvard. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Our fraternity, we teach them that. We teach hip-hop facts. You know, we hook them up with producers. We hook the producers up with DJs, and everybody works collectively. When we go to the club, we mob to the club 200 deep. That way we can change the bottom line of that club. So we spending $30,000-$40,000. If we only spending $100 a piece, we still spending $30,000. Well, that club has to play our music. You know what I'm saying? We force the club to play our music. You know, we go places and, you know, we use our strength, our numbers, in order to control the entire hip-hop industry. You know, record labels call me all day, like, what's going on? We hang up on them because we know what they want. They want our culture, but it's our culture, so it's our call, and we want brothers and sisters to come back to the original understanding of knowledge of self, you know, to get back and some move self mentality. Because, you know, brother, everybody talk about Black Wall Street. Let me tell you something. Hip hop is the new Black Wall Street. The GDP of Black Wall Street was $2 billion. Kanye West is worth $6 billion. He's worth 3 times the value of a whole entire community. But they don't praise Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because they killed the Negroes. You see what I'm saying? That's what we killed these Negroes. And they praised Martin Luther King because they killed him. They put a street on every block with Martin Luther King because they killed him. But they won't put nothing with Chairman, you know, just your daddy on it. You know what I'm saying? They won't put nothing, you know, with Percy Jr. They won't put nothing with brother Charles Jr. You know, brother, you know, all the brothers, you know, Tony Ali, Kwame Nkrumah. You know, there's a lot of people that they don't praise because they didn't control or they didn't kill. So then they control and kill, they push into our face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm telling you, some brothers, that the new Black Wall Street is hip hop. Hip hop has created more millionaires, more billionaires than any other entity or any other business, you know, known to mankind.
You mentioned a few terms I want to touch back on with you before we leave. NFC, ASCAP, LLC, copyright, EDP. Before I go into that, I just wanted to comment on something that I think a lot of times people have a reactionary assessment of ourselves, other people, and just history in general. You know, like the people, you know, they hear about certain individuals. They hear the name Pimp Ken, you know, from back in the days, and just think it just you know, like an individual popped, it just appeared out of a vacuum. And you just brought to my attention, I'm sure to many people's attention, about, you know, at the age of 14, you being tried, you know, saying held in infamous Cook County, and everything is political. And Cook County jail still to this day is the largest county jail in the country. And at one time per capita, recent history, large amount of black people per capita. And I recall even some bills some years back, maybe in 95, 97, up to 95, 1997, when there was a push to have all juveniles make sure they are separated from the adult population, for the exception of Cook. And like earlier today, earlier during the show, I mentioned other counties like Randolph, Thompson. These are counties in which, you know, the populace is more of a white population, and that's something that, you know, that objective of your life, you know what I'm saying, that should be put in context. I was just watching a piece with some guy named Maurice I forget his name. He impacted and he played with Carlos Santana. He was homeless, and so they talked to him, and a news reporter came across him in the Bay Area, and they brought him back, and they didn't believe he knew Carlos Santana. They brought Carlos Santana to him. He said, "Oh yeah, this guy told me about jazz, everything," and they was talking about how did he fall off? How did he become homeless? And he was going through the whole thing about him staying, going through the struggles he was going through. But something I don't think a lot of people caught. Carlos Santana said, well, he got taken to San Quentin. He got locked, and he said we didn't have no contact, and he don't know what happened to him. Field Marshal George Jackson of the Black Panther Party said, "No man," I'm gonna take the liberty of paraphrasing, "No man, no woman leaves that place, unaffected." And how the dynamics, not until we hear these stories about somebody got out in Detroit after serving 37 years, 45 years, we be like celebrating and say, "Oh, that's good," but negating all the contradictions from being snatched up during your reproductive ages, and just even we had a case in Chicago where a juvenile, 16 years old, was taken in the juvenile detention center, and it was documented they had shot him up with so much medication that it took his sperm count down from 1,000 to 0. And so, just so, I mean, you come out of there, saying, especially at 14 years old, and saying, I don't know how old you are, but it's, saying, I mean, we know you heard the horror stories that Cook County, I mean, has been known for, but to come out there with your alive and let's know your sanity, that, that's something. So I think we
it was in the 70s, brother Chairman. But I'm telling you how good God was. His brother named Penny, he was a vice lord. His brother named Black. They had wars. They used to go at it. And every time, I don't know, man, God must have looked over me, and my brother was in there with me. He was 16. And every time they would go to war, they would tell us we was in Division 6. They said, go in y'all dorm, go in y'all little room. So we go in our room, and they were mobbed and stabbing each other and everything. And they protected us, man. They knew that we was kids.
Yes.
That we was young. They ain't trying to numb that funny stuff for nothing, man.
Yes.
Because sometimes, man, God could be over your life. And God put me in there because that was an experience that I knew. Because sometimes when we go through, we grow through. You know what I mean? If you ain't humble, you're going to crumble.
Dang.
Evil could be your worst illegal. So, what I learned from the situation was that I learned that, even though I didn't get out of it quick, but as I got older, I learned that God got me. You know what I mean? That the man upstairs, whoever you want to call him,
yeah,
over, whatever his name is, Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? He got me because I was supposed to be dead in that penitentiary. You know what I mean? It was the word, at that time, it was really bad.
Yeah.
You had the Latin Kings, you had the Vice Lord. Everybody was warned at that time.
Yes.
When the gangs was really starting to populate and everybody was trying to find their identity. You know what I mean? So
yes.
a lot of gang banging at that era of time. And then, I was in like you said, the worst jail in the world at that time.
Yes.
You have to understand that you said just very interesting. America is 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's incarceration. In terms of eligible African American men that can go to penitentiary, it's only 6%. It's 6% of us eligible to go to prison. We're 13% of the population, so we're known for 40 million. But we got 2.5 million people in prison, and out of 2.5 million people in prison, 51% is of that 6%. So how can 6% of the eligible people who go to prison be 51% of the prison population?
Right.
5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's incarceration. So that means 12.5% of us is incarcerated more in America than in the entire world. I went to prison back in the 70s when I first went to Cook County Jail. There was about 300,000 people incarcerated. Now we see 2.5 million people. And then we look at Correctional Corporation of America. We look at what they're doing over there with the privatizing.
Yes.
In the prison, being on the stock exchange, we know that the 13th Amendment really in effect, because when you look at the 13th Amendment, it says the slave was abolished except for one
doing servitude. So yes.
I practiced up in the Morris Science Temple under the Honorable Noble Drew Ali. So in the Morris Science Temple, we talked about Dred Scott, right? So
yes.
We get the Dred Scott case, and
Judge, please.
How they put them back into slavery. But they never tell you about it. I know you didn't been in court, I've been in court. Whenever you go to court, if the person that incarcerates you or the person that's ruling over you or adjudicating over you, if they got any conflict of interest, they're supposed to, recuse themselves.
Right.
All of the Supreme Court justices that ruled against brother Dred Scott were all slave owners. So if we were to take him back to now, he was acquitted.
Yeah.
There's stuff like this. Look at the $20 bill. The $20 bill got Jackson. We killing each other for Jackson. But Jackson was a slave owner. We kill each other for them George White slave owners. So it's the subliminal. It's the message that is showing us. It's white supremacy, systemic racism that's keeping us down. That's why we can't, we can't morph into something successful. But me, what I did was I dissected everything. I went and I looked at all of the pitfalls. I looked at all of the things that put me in the condition that I am.
Yes.
I mean, I studied myself. I studied knowledge, and I was able to figure it out that it's all white supremacy. You know what I mean? And white supremacy is a religion. As Brother Tariq Nasheed always like to say, it's a religion. What makes it a religion is that, if I am superior of you, then I got to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm inferior. I got to let you live in dilapidated homes. I got to put you in project. I got to incarcerate you. I got to do all these things in order for my concept of my religion of white supremacy to work. Just like in order to be a Christian, you have to be Christianized. You got to believe in Jesus Christ. To be a Muslim, you got to believe in Muhammad. You have to believe in these things. But they believe in white supremacy. That's their religion. So therefore, as long as white supremacy exists, you're going to continue to see these crazy laws, these Rockefeller laws, the laws that 85%. Nobody should do 85% of their time. I mean, that is ridiculous. You know, if you call correction, then you're going to correct them. How can you institution, and how can you practice rehabilitation when you ain't rehabilitating nobody? You know what I'm saying? When you constantly putting people in precarious situations, so you furthering, you know what I'm saying, their situation. And that's what we see. And that's what we attack at the hip hop fraternity. If people want to know what the hip hop fraternity, that's what they can do is go to the hip hop fraternity.com. That explains everything. We got everything on there. So that's what I'm doing, brother. That I can't, like I said, you know, I can't get brothers to join the Black Panther. I can't get them to join the Nation. I can't get them to join the Powerhouse. You know, because they always talking about, man, you know, I ain't with that, or I ain't with this, I ain't with that. You know what I mean? They always look at our organization as negative. It's really positive for them because the Europeans, you know what I'm saying, our counterparts, our adversary, our diabolical enemy, and taught them that the Black Panther was something negative. When y'all was teaching kids, you know, for school, you know, breakfast, at the school breakfast program, which, you know, most kids, that's when they learn the best, when they eat in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Breakfast, the nutrients. You know what I mean? That's what y'all was about. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had the right to bear arms. You know what I mean? The right to bear arms is in the Constitution. Y'all didn't violate no laws. But you were scared to death of y'all because of what y'all represent in the color of your skin. You were defying white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, they don't want to go to church because they say everybody in the church is Jack Black preachers. You know, they pimping their mama. You know, they don't want to go to Nation Islam because they don't want to wear bow ties. They don't want to, you know, get out there and hustle like the brothers do. You know what I mean? Sell papers and push the narrative of the Nation Islam. And they don't want to become Muslim because they want to wear beard. They want to wear tattoos. They don't want to wear poop. You know what I mean? So that, but hip hop, they want to wear their pants down. So we let them do all that. Come on. But once they get in here, we get them in our oxygen, we start teaching. Then their pants start to come up. Then, you know what I'm saying, those negative attitudes started to come out. They started to quote business. You know what I'm saying? They get to learn what the LLC is. You know, so that was my way, you know, because I've been a part of all those organizations, except for the Black Panther. That was my way of bringing the young people in through hip hop. I know that when your program first came on, you know, you played Tupac, you know, we played a lot of hip hop before you even came online.
Yes.
And that's where our young people is at. They're in the hip hop community.
Yes.
So that's why we started the hip hop fraternity. You know, a fraternity is a fact. You know, it's a fact where brothers can link up under that auspices. You know, that's really, you know, what we all about, man. And that's why I wanted you to come and speak, because I don't have no intimidation. Because, you know, I tell people like this. When you look at the hip hop fraternity, look at it like that movie with Eddie Murphy traded places.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy traded places with the dude, right? He was there still in silverware. And the white man said, "Hey man, what are you doing? All this is yours."
Yeah.
The hip hop fraternity, you ain't got to come and steal members. If everybody in the hip hop fraternity join the Black Panther, that's what I want them to do. Everybody in the hip hop fraternity join the Nation Islam, that's what I want them to do. We are not intimidated or fearful of any organization. That's why I invite all organizations and all people to come together and let's be an African American think tank and let's come up with solutions and conclusions, you know what I'm saying, for the problems that are pervasive in our community. You know, that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? I don't trip. You know, I'm a Moorish American. You know what I'm saying? But I'm around Pimp Blood, Kitty, Vice Lord, Black Panthers every day.
Yeah.
You know, everybody got their perspective lifestyle.
Yes.
I have no qualms with that whatsoever. But I do believe that if we come together, we practice group economics, you know what I'm saying, we create a 360-degree of participation where we support each other through group economics and group politics, and we shop with each other, and, you know, we let our money, you know, bounce at least 8 to 10 times before they buy community. Then we as a community, irrespective of what you represent or what you know, your political persuasion, you know, geopolitical philosophies are, it won't have nothing to do with the movement. You know, the Masons do it, the Elks do it, the Jews do it. All I'm saying is that, listen, man, if these folks come together, be lawyers, judges, carpenters, farmers, and they all up on the one auspice, hey, man, we could do it up on the hip-hop because we all either Grandmaster Flash or we little babies. We all grew up on hip-hop. You know what I mean? We are the hip-hop boomers, and we that generation. So we all have a commonality in hip-hop. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Europeans love hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we only 6% of the population that is profited by music. So where is the other 94% of all this money coming from? You know?
That brings a question. We can draw a lot of it's still difficult for many people to see, even though we can draw blatant correlations to chattel slavery to the initial discussion we talking about that of the prisons, like mentioned about the 13th Amendment, where it blatantly states, saying where you can be dismissed from servitude for the exception of you've been charged, you've been given sentenced for a crime. And we can look at the shackles. We can look at even some of the, like Angola prison. To this day, in Louisiana, it's like it's reminiscent of blatant chattel slavery. In hip hop, with the videos, with the access to resources, and give us some of the court, like, and some people say, okay, this is that they not that we get money mixed up with power and that of freedom. So just can you give us some of the insight of, like the terms, how we still being subjugated, how we still being ripped off, and how we still, like, especially a discussion about freedom of speech. Don't just say the wrong thing. There's a big thing going on with this cat, the baby, right now. You know what I'm saying? So what's the whole question? You know what I'm saying? So give us, some dynamics about even our resources. We've seen the heat come down on so many forces in the past, from Sam Cooke to Tupac. You start talking about independence, and you start talking about your publishing rights, so on and so forth. Give us some insight on that.
Okay, first of all, the record industry went through several phases. Okay, I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis on publishing. Okay, publishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 89 years after you can receive publishing. So publishing is like me and you did a song, and I was a writer. We would get what you call a split sheet. You will own half of the music, I will own half of the music, and the publishing is like talking about performance, right? You know what I'm saying? When you perform, talking about when they play it in the club, you get paid. And when they play it in the jingle and the music, you get paid. That's publishing.
Okay.
Album sales. That's publishing. And that's where the money at. So traditionally, what has happened is that these guys have signed these contracts. These contracts were basically garbage contracts. You know what I'm saying? So they assigned their life away, and they didn't know no better. So James Brown and Sam Cooke and all of them, they realized what was going on. They began to protest that. But there was so much money in it, and at the time you had the mob and people like that involved in it, that they literally would kill certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today, that on that level. So what they do now is they offer us big change. They offer us $1 million. They offer us the Rolls Royce. That's how they get us today. And the average kid in the ghetto, a Rolls Royce for $1 million is a whole lot of money. But what you don't understand, man, like I'll give you a better example. Her name's Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton, y'all remember her, right?
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
Yes, yeah.
She wrote a song called "I Would Always Love You," and Wendy Houston did it in the bodyguard. "I Would Always Love You." She did a beautiful rendition of Dolly Parton's song, and the song went mega platinum. I mean, people was having it all on YouTube. People was, they were just praising the song, and guess who got paid? Not Wendy Houston, Dolly Parton, because she owned the publishing. Every time somebody play that song on YouTube, Dolly Parton get paid. Every time.
Wow, it was, and although it was even talked about, even heard before, and especially with our community, like when you used to brought it back to life, but you said Dolly Parton got the bank off of it.
She got the royalties, because that's what ownership is. Like when Michael Jackson bought the Beatles catalog, all hell, when Paul McCartney needed money,
yes,
and Michael Jackson gave him $50 million, it all hell broke off. Because let me tell you something about the Beatles, right? There was a guy, he was a drummer, and this guy here, he died. He died back in the 70s, but he had a son, and his son ended up on America Most Wanted. So they seen the son on Most Wanted, identical name, and the lawyers tracked the son down some kind of way. They hired a private investigator, and they said, "Man, did you know you got $3 million in publishing from your dad?"
Wow.
$3 million. The man been dead. $3 million. Let me tell you why. You know where they put that money in? It's called copyright control. So when the money goes on copyright control, it is billions of dollars in copyright control. So imagine how much interest Michael Jackson was getting. That's why he was spending $1,000 a month, $100,000 a month on these houses, because the man was probably receiving $1 million a month in publishing, just from the royalties, just from the interest of all the money that's in copyright control. There's a lot of people who were involved in those songs years ago, brother Chairman Fred, that is no longer living, but the money's still calculated. See, that's why for 89 years after you dead, your publishing is still good. That's why it's usually aired down or it's going to the estate. You know what I mean? And then it's inheritance. So that's why we teach at the hip hop fraternity the importance. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Congress have made laws to protect everybody. Look at Prince did. Prince wrote "Slave" on his head.
Yes.
Nas asked Prince to do a song with it, and you know what Prince asked him?
Well, yes.
He said, "Do you own your publishing?" And Nas said, "No." He said, "Well, I can't do nothing with you." And everybody that wanted to do songs with Prince, he wouldn't do songs with nobody that didn't own their publishing. And what he was really trying to do, he was trying to educate them and say, "Man, this is where the money at."
Well, question, Ken.
That's what we have to do, and no matter what.
So, question. Okay. So, you say Prince asked Nas, "Do you own his publishing?" So, okay. So, just for clarity, that wouldn't be. When you say that wouldn't be for like one respective song. So, like publishing, is that a general? Like you say, I own all my publishing. That includes like all your pieces, or
let me explain to you. No, let me explain to you. So when you first get in the music industry, you form a publishing company, right?
Yes.
And then you register your music with this performance right organization, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. And what they do is they go around the world and they track your music. If somebody plays your music in a jukebox, they collect all of that. They collect your money. So what they do, these performance rights organizations, they collect all of your publishing, and then at the end of the quarter, every quarter they give you, every 4 months, they give you a check, and that accumulates. Now, if you did a song with Ken, like me, I told you I've been on 40 million records. So I've been on Lil Jon album, 2 Short album, I've been on Jermaine Dupri album, I've been on 50 Cent album. So say for example, if I forgot to register that song, forgot, they still collect the money. The performance rights organization, they collect money and they put it in copyright control. So it's up to me and my lawyers to go and do our due diligence and claim that money. So it's a lot of artists out here that probably got millions and millions of dollars in copyright control that don't even know it's it. But the way they keep control, the way you keep what's up on your money, you got to register with these organizations. $50 to register with BMI. I think it's $150 with ASCAP. You register as a producer and a writer. And you got mechanical rights, and you got writer's rights. And every time you do a song with somebody, if you're the producer and you the writer, you own 100%. If you're a writer or you're a producer, you got mechanical rights, you own 50% of that song. And if you register and you got your publishing registered, then what happens is these people, they already know your song. You register it, they got codes in there, they got ways of reading and ways of tabulating and satellites that tracks this music around the world. And so they can calculate, how much money you got. So what's going on now is a new thing called blockchain. Now blockchain is
What is it, brother? What is it again? Say it again. What is it?
Called blockchain. So blockchain is where a lot of the white country western and rock and roll artists are going, because the black folks have been dominated hip hop. So, but what they doing is they get more money. So if you do a song on a blockchain, you sing. If I'm in Singapore, you will do what they call a smart contract, which would tell me how much money you want and how much per song. And then if I'm in Singapore, I want to play you a new song. I like Big Butt. Then I'll play that song. Then I give you 50 cents a song. So if you do a million sales like that, you get $500,000. But on the record label, you're going to get $45,000 because they take the majority of the percentage. If you go through streaming, you only get $2,000 because the streaming, the way they work, they say, well, look, there's too many records to calculate. So we're going to do a guesstimation of what you get. And that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So, in order to beat the heat, you know what I'm saying, you just got to be registered. You know what I mean? You got to understand the business. You hire you a lawyer, never do anything without a lawyer. Understand what an escalation clause is, a de-escalation clause. and realize that the best record label deal you're ever going to get is an independent deal. If you own everything, then you understand all the money comes to you. You know, and I know a lot of people say, well, man, you know, this guy offered me money. Anybody offering you the money in the music business is the banker. And a banker usually go anywhere from 5 to 10%. But with a record label, you're talking about, you know, they taking 80%. They charge you 18 to 80% interest on a dollar. So you'll never get out of that deal. You're always going to the whole owing the record label. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So what we teach these kids is, you know, keep your publishing. And even the guys, the smart guys, you know, like the top flight rappers, how they get them is they let them own their publishing, and then they come back and they be like, okay, all right, now, you know what I'm saying? You want to borrow $1 million? Give me 20% of your publishing. You know, and you can buy it back. So they're give it. That's how they end up taking all their publishing. They eventually buy them out, you know, over a succession period of time. You know,
I can even suspect this too. Like when they have under duress with them cases, you know what I'm saying? That, like, you know what I'm saying? How you locked up, you know, under the duress. Let me ask you another question. Okay,
yeah.
Say an artist is just not getting hip to this now. Like you said, Sam Cooke and James Brown, they got wind what's going on. So just to confirm this, it's retroactive. You can go back and say, okay, look, I want to go back and grab all the stuff, reap my benefits what I've been having all the time. So you file with your BMI, ASCAP, what have you. So it is retroactive. It goes back in time.
Well, basically, everything that you ever done is being registered.
Yes.
So you have money already in what they call copyright control. So if you did a song with 50 Cent and you never got your publishing,
yes,
what they do, it's illegal for them to take that money. So they submit that money to the performance art, you know, or performance rights. Or they submit it, you know, they may not put no name on it.
Right.
But they can't take the money because it would be considered, they call that RICO Act. You know what I mean? It's like if a bunch of people are knowingly
conspiring to rip someone do theft.
It's a continued criminal enterprise. So they don't take the money, but they'll put the money in copyright control, and they'll bear the interest off the money. They'll be able to get the interest. So claim it, and if you do your due diligence, and you know you have somebody to track it down, and you figure out all the songs you've been on, and you go and you submit that to ASCAP and BMI, they will retrieve that money for you over a period of time.
Yeah.
You know, and some of these artists got millions and millions of dollars and don't even know it. Like, it's like, for instance, if Usher would have did a song with Jermaine Dupri,
yeah,
and he just did it out of love. Whether he did it out of love or not, they still got to have a split sheet. They still split the differences on ownership of that song. They said Usher owned so much of the song, Jermaine Dupri owned so much of the song. So, like I told you, what I did, I had a forensic account. And I went and I found all the songs I was on, and I registered my music, and I tagged myself on all of the songs I was on, and I was able to receive a substantial amount of money because I actually own these songs, and I'm my own publishing company. I'm PNID Publishing, so but the people that really messed up, we ain't trying to say them. You know what I mean? We ain't trying to say that. We trying to say the new young people. Like I tell people all the time, you sign with Jay-Z. Jay-Z ain't gonna do nothing but go get you a deal, a distribution deal with Epic or with Atlantic Records. So you're not signed independent. You're signed to Jay-Z, who's signed to another nigga. So you get double dipped. They take your money twice. See, so at the hip hop fraternity, we tell people how not to get caught up in that. I always urge my artists not to go to a major. I'm always remain independent. Because you never know what hit might come from. All these people do is, they take something that's already in existence and they benefit from it. It's really a crime. How can an old guy on Universal Records, who lives in Beverly Hills, say that he know music? That he's the godfather of the music game. He ain't making the music. He ain't in the hood. He ain't around to get shot at. And he ain't in the trap. Selling the work. So how he know about what you talking about?
Yeah.
All he know about is that if you're stupid enough to sign to me and you hot, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take all your money, I'm gonna pimp up on you. I'm going to put you on the ministry, put you on somebody else, I'm going to put you to work, and I'm going to eat all your money while your kids suffer. And what happens is with these guys is like, like Lil Wayne. When Lil Wayne realized that he wasn't getting his fair share of the cake, he went at David. He sued him for some millions of dollars. But what these young dudes do is they be all, shiny eyed, and they'd be happy to be in a record business. They'd be happy to be around all these women and to be able to buy these cars and these clothes, and they forget the business side. And so what happened is, once you go through that, and you buy the Rolls Royces and the cars, and you find out, man, I'm broke, then you got every nigga in the hood that you're going with talking about the same, man, look out, homie. You know what I'm saying? So now you can't look out for your homies. You're looking at you stupid. You're selling millions of records. So now you want to retract and go back and try to correct the mistake that you made. And like, oh, no, man, I should get this, I should get this, I should get that. Now at this juncture, you know what I'm saying, you got everybody in the hood, thinking that you're a lousy dude, that you don't want to share, that you're stingy. And in reality, is that you broke.
Yeah.
This women, that you're taking care of, it's crazy.
A lot of these are similar contradictions in the sports arena too, right? Like in NBA, NFL. I mean, like you look, what's the guy who used to own Chicago Bulls? Reinsdorf and them. They couldn't run. They couldn't run half a court. With the resources that they reap for that. I mean, in every arena, sports arena also.
Well, I mean, traditionally, right? Black folks have been. They've been the talent, and the Europeans have been the managers.
Mm-hmm.
But since, you got people like Jay-Z and Kanye, African Americans are becoming more smart, more aware of business. You know what I'm saying? The internet really helped people to understand a lot of stuff that they didn't understand 20, 30 years ago. So these guys, they're not just taking these flunky deals no more. A lot of people are waking up, like I told you, like we said, the hip hop fraternity, I tell all the brothers, man, listen. You know what I'm saying? If we stick together, if we share each other's videos, if we produce these DJs deal with each other, you guys gonna be better off. Eventually we will be the machine, and we will outrun the major record label, because they can't exist without y'all. If we all stop giving our music away, we all stop being stupid, they come at us with deals that make a whole lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're becoming a joint venture business partner. Instead of taking 85% and giving them, now 15%, that's like Jay-Z money, when, like back in the day,
mm-hmm.
that's a good percentage. If
yeah.
In the record business, the average dude only getting 8%.
Yeah.
I said my first deal I did with Simon & Schuster as a publisher, as an author, it was a crappy deal. But I came back and I ended up buying the ownership of my audio books. I own 100% of my audio books. I had to learn from that. That's a whole different perspective, a whole different area. It wasn't even music, but I didn't know, so everybody has to learn. Once I learned, when I went to check my royalties, they told me that I didn't have none. I made millions of dollars off the music, off the book industry. I was like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
The next book I did it independently. The Art of Human Chess, I did it independently. Now I do the same numbers, but I keep all the money. I own the audio of both of my books. When you go to audiobook.com, you type in my name, Deputy King, you'll see I own 100% of my audio book, 100% of my last book, because I'm in the mind state of, being an entrepreneur. I'm not in the mind state of having somebody, take my career, put it in their hands and do what they want to do and treat me like clay and shape me how they want to shape me. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's important. What's important is ownership. Being producers and not consumers. We have to become financially literate. We have to be. Like the Honorable Noble Ali said, it takes finance to uplift the nation.
Mm-hmm.
This was in 1913. He was owning something.
Yeah.
Saying that over 100 years ago, it takes finance to uplift the nation. Essentially, what he was saying is that we have to become self-contained. If you look at the movie American Gangster, that's a good movie. You look at American Gangster, it was made. The unique, when people mystify the dude, what was his name?
Lucas.
Ain't dude, American Gangster.
Lucas.
People mystify Frank Lucas. Is when he was from North Carolina. He was from the South. He was from the South, so he didn't have a Negro mentality. He didn't believe he could go to his knees and grow. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes in New York, they was Italian. But you got to remember, during North Carolina, they had their own bus, they had their own cab company. You know what I mean? They had their own businesses. So he was used to, being self-contained. He was used to being independent. He didn't want to get his work from the Italian. He wanted to go straight to the North because that's what they had to do in the South. And you notice all those dudes that became rich in the South, you look at them, they all got backgrounds in Mississippi. That's ironic because in Mississippi, they had segregation.
So you saying seeing some images of your people doing something.
That's what Martin Luther King said. This is what Martin Luther King said. He said, "I believe I led my people to a burning house." What he was saying was that if we would have stayed independent, we would have stayed segregated. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have never believed that their hotels was better than ours. They wouldn't have believed that. For some reason, we believed that McDonald's hamburgers was better than Mississippi hamburger, who we've been eating for the last 6 years about slavery since 1855. You know what I'm saying? We thought that Mr. Roy grocery store, because he had a roach or two, you know what I'm saying, running through there, that it was the worst kind of food. So we went to Kroger, and we went to Kohl's, and we went to, Jews, you know what I mean, and we killed our own community. And then once they see how stupid we were, they see that we was giving away our GDP, then they built highways over all the hoods. So now white people don't have to go through 63rd Street. They ain't got to go up Halstead. You know what I mean? Well, they can just go straight over there.
Rewind for a minute, King. You said giving up what? Did you say it again? You said giving up the GDP. Say it again.
It's all about the
We broke up one more time. You said giving up the what? One more time.
I said they built highways throughout our community.
No. You said no. About the GDP. I want you to just. You said giving up. You said. You said GDP a minute ago.
Oh yeah. The GDP.
Yes.
Giving up our GDP, our gross national product.
Right.
$1 trillion annually.
Right on. That's okay. That's what. Yeah. I don't. I want to slip past some. Slip past some. Yeah. No doubt. Okay. Yes. Yes.
So what we're saying is that is depleting us economically because that money is going into other communities.
Yes.
And like I said, in every hood, you look at every hood, through Chicago, Milwaukee, they build highways throughout the ghetto, so people don't have to ride through the ghetto. Usually people have to ride through the ghetto, and if it's a black gas station, I don't care if it's black, white, green, spotted, dotted. If you need some gas, you don't get it from where the closest gas station that you don't eat.
Yeah.
It used to be the way we used to prosper. White people used to stop black community to get food. They used to come get hamburgers, everything that they need. They had to stop to the black community in certain instances because if not, they'd run out of gas. And so what they did was they built highways. So the next community that you end up in is either in a Mexican community or in some other community. So that destroyed our community. We began to leave our community. But then what they did, they allowed the Jews, no disrespect to the Jews, they allowed the Jews to come in our community. They opened up business. Then once the Chinese came, and they opened up business, then the Chinese, the Arabs came, and now we got the Indians in our community. That's it. Everybody just benefited from the African community. Except, and I ain't going to talk about the Irish or the Greeks in there too. Everybody came and sucked the blood of the hood, of the ghetto, and moved on into their suburbs and lived, that white picket lifestyle. So, we can have the same thing because we are the richest people on planet, in terms of, GDP. We like the third wealthiest people on the planet. We the 13th, I think it's the 8th or the 13th. I can't remember. But nonetheless, we are very prosperous people. We got a lot of money. We got a lot of disposable income. However, that income is being spent like where they gave the, check, the PPE or the stimulus check.
Yes.
Everybody went straight into Baywood. They went into Oak Park. You know what I'm saying? And they went into those malls out there and they spent all their money. They didn't stop on Madison. They didn't stop on 63rd. They didn't stop on Halstead. So that killed those communities. Those communities, those businesses there are suffering. You know what I mean? In particular, the African American business. Every time we get some money, we go straight to Lenox Mall here in Atlanta. We got a Greenbrier Mall that got predominantly mostly African American business. But we see it continuously. We see it in every state.
Man, that's some serious serious propaganda bomb. Grand Theft Auto, for those who not hip to that. I mean how realistic it is, and they even got names. They got names of street organizations in it, like literally doing drive-bys. Everything is involved in it. You mentioned GDP a couple of times. Could you just expound on that for just I won't draw no foregone conclusion that we hip to what you're talking about.
The GDP is the gross national product. So what that means basically, that means that, if you got $1 trillion, circulated to that community, that's the GDP. That community is worth $1 trillion. That's the GDP of us. We literally spend $1 trillion, go to our hands annually. That's an annual prediction of $1 trillion. Out of that GDP, only 2% of that come back to our community. Our money bounced one time, and then it bounced out of our community. Other communities, it bounces 8 to 10 times. You know what I mean? I think the Jewish community is 6% of the population, but own maybe about 60% of the wealth of this country. You know what I mean? They are very smart people. You know what I mean? You look at, say, for example, the Chinese. You know what I mean? You go into LA, they got 31 Chinese banks. That's just in LA. We, as after that, we got maybe 3 banks. 3 banks out of all of us. You know what I mean? You begin to see the disparities. You see little Havana. You see Greek town. You see Jew town. You know what I'm saying? You see little Italy. You see little Haiti. But you'll never see little Ghana or little Nigeria. Because we do not practice group economics. We do not spend our money with each other. We give our GDP, our gross national product, to other people. And the GDP of the African Americans, back into slavery was probably, from a wealth standpoint was equivalent. You know what I mean? But the same amount, money that we spent with each other back in 1865, during the Emancipation Proclamation when Abraham Lincoln so-called freed the slaves, we spent about 2% with each other. In 2021, we spent about 2% with each other. Back in during the time of slavery, it was 50% African Americans in prison. In 2022, we got 50% Africans. We have not changed one iota. We are actually doing the same thing we did in 1865, 2021. And the reason why is because there's so much money spent on social engineering and systemic racism. People say the pipeline from school to prison. That is true. You know what I'm saying? Prisons do. I've been to prison. Schools do look like prisons. Some teachers act like prisoners. You know what I mean? So they prepare our children to go to jail. Then you populate that with games like Grand Theft Auto, and you put drugs in our community. We don't own no planes. We don't own no boats. We don't own no ships. How's the drug getting good drugs? We don't know how to make that drug. You see all these drugs into our community. This is by design. This is not an accident. You know what I'm saying? This is what's destroying us. And the biggest problem for our lawmakers and for our black lawyers and our black educators is to attack the laws, because the Honorable Noble John Lee said this is the nation of laws. Until we ratify the laws, until we, change and make amendments towards the laws, they can continue to do that. That's why you got so many brothers in prison, because of the 13th Amendment. It gives them legally a reason to incarcerate. That's why you got Angola. That's why you got brothers sticking ties in Angola and officers riding around with horses with shotguns. The same thing in the slave room. You know what I mean? Because they're legal slaves. Until we change that law, we say even though you committed a crime or you made a mistake, you're still a citizen, and the citizenry is not affected by that. Then we would stop seeing the draconian acts of the prisons, and like the young lady talk about, none of those things won't happen. I mean, look, it is not community. Then they do the Rockefeller laws. They do the crime deal of 1984 and Bill 1992 with Bill Clinton, and these laws incarcerate these men for substantial long periods of time, and then these same people comes in and do this. They say we need criminal reform. We need prison reform. You the one that created the condition. Now you want to
right.
You're apologizing for what don't make no sense. And then, you know, the first thing they do, like, let me tell you something. I got to go. I really got to go. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anytime you see a hood, just go anywhere in Chicago, Detroit, you see that hood depleting, and you see it being teared down. You could best believe in 15 years it's going to become a thriving community, because that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They create economic stress in that community. People begin to move out. People begin to close the business. The buildings become abandoned. It's buy the land. Then they go through eminent domain to move the remaining of the residents from the community. Then next thing you know, it's a Walmart, it's a Jew, and it's a Taco Bell, and you know, a McDonald's in that community. That's the same thing they do with us. You know what I'm saying? You know, they allow us to kill each other. Then they allow us to sell drugs to each other. And then after we do all this stuff, then they tell our community leaders, these people ain't no good. And the first thing our community leaders say, yeah, you're right. You know, they killed the innocent little girl. You know what I'm saying? The community gets on the side of the law. They say, what's on the side of the law? Then they come in and they say, okay, well, we're going to come with the 85% law. You know, we're going to come in with the trigger law, the trigger lock law. And, you know, and the trigger lock law ain't nothing but double jeopardy. So what that means, me and you both been in prison. So if I get caught with a pistol, because I've been in the feds already, you know what I'm saying? They're going to give me 15 years of life because I'm an ex-felon in possession of a firearm, which is a federal law. You know what I'm saying? But the same law that they're using against me is double jeopardy, because it says that I have the right to bear arms.
Contradiction in terms, yes.
I've been in prison. Yeah, it's contradictions, but at the same time, if you look at it, you know what I'm saying? It was all out of their own design.
Yeah.
They put the drugs in our community.
Yes.
You know, if you put drugs in the community, you're going to create a lot of money.
Yes.
So all of us, how we is, we're territorial. So if you make $100,000, I'm making $200,000. I want to make $400,000. I'm going to shoot your block up. You know, so you're going to shoot my block up. Somebody going to get shot because fully don't got names. And then what they're going to do, they're going to demonize. They're going to call it a war on drugs. Call it war on drugs. They're going to demonize the community so bad. They're going to make it look so bad that the community is going to say, lock them all up. And then once they lock them up, then they realize, I think you said something about, you know, a form of conflict is stopping the reproduction cycle. So now they can't reproduce their children. They can reproduce themselves. Now the women are talking about, let my man out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, let my son out of jail. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to vote like that. I didn't mean to give y'all that much power. And they laughing, and they got 6 or 7 vacation homes all over the world because they making money off of your son in prison.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
They do it all the time, and we fall for it every time.
Hey, Type of Time Emotion Explorers. Ken, for you right, hey, give us some contact information for Hip Hop Fraternity, and we looking forward to seeing you in Chicago August 30th for the Chairman Fred Street Party, man.
Oh man, I'm there, man. Like somewhere, man. Okay, well, you can find me at hiphopfraternity.com. That's our social media. You can upload music, you can upload your videos, and you know it's just like YouTube's or like Instagram, but it's owned and controlled by African Americans. It's art demonstration. If you want to find us on Instagram, it's at hiphopfraternity.com. And those who are fans of mine who know me, you find me at Real 1010 on hiphopfraternity.com. And you go down my timeline, my photo line, you can see all the stuff I'm doing with Lil Bootsy and with the community, all the positive things we're doing. And like I said, man, you know, if they want my books, they can go to audiostoco.com and just type in my name, Ken, and all my books is up there to sell. And, you know, I mean, we basically, you know, and hell yeah, it's in Atlanta. If you want to come to the Hip Hop Fraternity, it's absolutely free. 50 out of my pocket. You feed, you don't have to pay for no food, and you can perform it. That has never changed. I finance this totally out of my pocket. We've been to our facility. We have a 51,000 facility. We have 4 studios in there. We have a concert hall. We have a big meeting hall. We have a 1,500 car capacity parking. And we're the biggest facility in Atlanta. You know, we bring hip-hop artists, you know, every 2 weeks. You know, we got Mexico tomorrow, so if you're in the Atlanta area, you know, come to look up on the Hip Hop Fraternity on Instagram. You can see we have Mexico at our facility tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
we had Brother Fred about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
We always doing something constructive, something positive. It's absolutely free. Nobody has to pay for anything. It's strictly out of my pocket. Out of my pocket, I don't have no help. I don't have no people loaning me nothing. I don't have no charitable organizations that's with me. And, you know, God blessed me, you know, with a little money. So I'm out with a little money back. And I'm paying for all this on my pocket, stopping the violence. And I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook, but if you go to my Facebook, Ken you see we bought the Crips and the CD's device stores, and we bought the BMF all on one stage, and them brothers made a peace treaty. So, you know, we also stopping the violence. We bringing brothers together, you know what I mean? We let brothers know that numbers is strength, you know what I mean? We tell them, you know what I mean?
Right on.
You know, how to make money in this music industry. So, you know, there's a lot of things we're doing, bro.
So you're right on. Y'all, we live and direct on Freedom All Radio, making history, taking history, and taping history. Y'all got them contacts. I'm gonna go to that page. I'm gonna grab it and reshare. Again, gotta have you back on Freedom All Radio. You know, again, we're looking forward to seeing you August 30th, my brother, man. Again, I was there a few weeks back. On shout out my nephew Young Bleed for giving me the call that date. Give me his to come on through there. It was very informational. I will be back. You know what I'm saying, on deck over there again. Again, look forward to seeing you, my brother. Yes, sir. This has been a good dialogue. You know, we gotta have you back on deck with us. You know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Yeah, my mic any day, man. Come on, man. The mic is open mic for you, man. You know, the brothers love you, man.
I love them.
You got to come back, man.
Yes, sir.
Love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
Back in Atlanta, brother.
Yes, sir.
Peace out, man.
So you're right. Peace out. Love you, brother. Right on. We live and direct on Freedom All Radio, making history, taking history, and taping history, y'all. Y'all just heard, you know what I'm saying? Again, Ken Abbey. Some of y'all back in the days, y'all numerous Pimp Ken. You get y'all some different social media websites. Check them out. We moving and grooving. We on the countdown. Comrade, bring us up. I know we get a couple more calls in queue. Bring them on deck.
Chairman, we have Comrade Connor, who's on the line. Free them all.
Free them all. Right on.
Free them all, Chairman.
Free them all, comrade. I know we on the countdown. I know y'all be, man, this ain't your first time, definitely ain't your last time. Been going through it on that end. What's happening up there? I'll bring us straight in. We did a quick post. I want to get another picture, but it was Tiny House Warriors. Those of you who just tuning in or just your first time listening in, y'all, the work, the historical work we've been addressing in regards to political prisoners, you know, Leonard Peltier, Orlando Wiley, you know what I'm saying, when we up with Jamal Sunday out of Coley, your brother, sister down the street, to that the land question, you know what I'm saying, addressing challenging the pipelines, you name it. But what's going on now? We know it's super intense. We've been seeing, you know, various images. So a matter of fact, give us the social media where we can see it at directly in the beginning and at the conclusion of your summation. What's going on? Tell us what we can, because some footage of social media y'all been going through. Tell us where we can see that at. Then bring us up to speed. What's happening?
Okay. Yeah, our social media is the official Tiny House Warriors, or my personal Instagram or Facebook under Kanahu, spelled Kanahus. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Where right now I'm contacting you from Tiny House Warriors. We're here on the ground, unceded, unsurrendered territory. Chakotmakululu is the name of our land. It's 180,000 square kilometers of territory. We've never signed treaties with Great Britain or Canada. Here, any place west of the Rocky Mountains is pretty well no treaty with the federal government. And so to this day, Canada has been, I think, celebrated its 154th birthday. It's a baby country. And just recently, to give a background, they just unearthed and uncovered 215 children that the government of Canada is responsible for. They buried them, covered up the murders of these children in the Kamloops Indian Residential School, which was the largest of the Indian residential schools, the government-run schools that took the children away from their homes and communities and forced them, indoctrinated them into this colonial way. And the Indian reserves, if you add them up in Canada, will equal 0.2%. So we know who's going to be rich and who's going to be poor when Canada holds 99.8% of our land. The big picture here is that we're fighting for our land and self-determination. And by asserting our rights to our land, we're stopping this pipeline. This pipeline is one of the biggest projects that we're facing threat from right now in our territory. And it's one of the largest. It's the Alberta tar sands pipeline that wants to pipe bitumen, a very toxic, one of the most toxic heavy crude oils, all the way from the Alberta tar sands, which is a landlocked resource in Alberta, through the Rocky Mountains, through our land, all the way to Tidewater, to the Salish Sea out near Vancouver, and then through tankers from the Westridge Marine Terminal in Burnaby near Vancouver, through those inlets, those tight inlets, all the way down to the coast of Washington, Oregon, and to refineries in California. And so this is a massive project. It's like we know that wars are being fought over oil, and this is just another one, and we need a lot of attention on this because around a week ago, on July 23rd, Trans Mountain Pipeline moved in. Area that we've been occupying for thousands of years, but tiny house warriors have been occupying this specific site for 3 years. We have 5 tiny houses on wheels that we're using as a place to live, but also to assert our title and our right to exclusively use and occupy our lands and our right to self-determination. And we've been here for 3 years, 3 winters, 10 feet of snow here in the mountains, and they moved in with 50 white males with the Trans Mountain. Their security some of their top security has really high, extensive military background and police background, RCMP background with RCMP for 30 years, one of them. And so they came in with a big police operation to put up fencing around this camp, but to really push us out and remove half of our barricade and safety blockades that we had on a road, Myrtle Lake Road. And blockades in this country really are significant in Indigenous resistance because it's where the Crown, the Government of Canada, faces off with Indigenous jurisdiction and Indigenous territorial authority over our territory, and it faces off right there at the blockade. And so it's a very symbolic position holding a blockade, and we kept that road, and on that day, half of the road, they tried to remove us. It was women, and we were faced off with 50 white men that were there to really push us to take our whole home from us because we created a village here. Practically, it has 5 homes. A kitchen, has a whole separate kitchen unit. It has everything that we need to maintain ourselves here on the land. They installed surveillance towers that have all state-of-the-art camera, night vision. They have even a megaphone on there that speaks to you if you get close. We had to install privacy curtains and fences and install our own high towers just to block access from them to see right into our homes, which is a 1-bedroom tiny house. So they're looking right into our bedroom. So it's a real invasion, and it's what invasion looks like for Indigenous peoples on our territory. In 2021, they came with an injunction, a court injunction, stapled to a 2x4, and they used that 2x4 as their weapon to come and take our land. And so this is still happening to this day. This is 2021. And we're asking for, support. I think that the biggest thing that we have is our alliance with each other, and that we've both faced such brutal attacks by colonization and our oppression. The exact same things that I'm hearing from the different speakers here are the exact same things that we're facing in our Indigenous communities here in Canada and all throughout Finland, which is like this whole North and South America. And it's really going to be us that puts our minds together. Like you said, the other speaker said they have think tanks. Like, we really need think tanks amongst our Black and Indigenous communities to really say what does solidarity look like? How do we start to even support businesses? How do we support our own economics? How do we support this freedom in that way? Because Canada and the American government is, really trying to kill us and everything that we stand for. So we have to fight for our freedom, and we say land back, and the only way that we're going to get our land back is if we fight back, and we have to be very smart because we're outnumbered and overpowered, and they have bigger guns here. We know what happens one of the things our elder Wolverine stood up with the Canadian government in 1995 at the Lake standoff, and they shot off 77,000 rounds in an hour and a half at them, and that's what came out in the courts. They wanted to kill them. 16 Chukwama's land defenders, and brought in ATCs, set up landmines, all around their encampment. And so this is the norm for the way that Canada deals with any type of natives that are talking about asserting their title as our sovereignty, taking back land in our nation, and we have every right to. There's no treaties here, which makes it a very unique stand in the world when we're talking about Indigenous rights, land rights. And, what does self-determination look like, and how do we start to build our self-determination plans for our families and our communities and our nations, and then just the greater world? What does that look like for us? Like, I heard how much GDP, that's like $1 trillion. Well, we have that much or even more in the value of land. We need support, and we need a real army to fight for our land, army, not even just the physical army, but just the skill sets and the people that could assist Indigenous peoples with our land back.
Give me. We might be going down a couple of minutes. Give me. What can we do? Who should we? Let me just say this real quick. Contrary to, and I've said this before. Contrary to the Tarzan movies and the John Wayne movies, the indigenous community has been fighting back. The Black community has been fighting back. We've been fortunate with this comrade, again, addressing issues ranging from political prisoners to the land question. In fact, you can go around in Pembroke, Kankakee, 45 minutes outside Chicago, and challenging this country about the pipelines. And that's something people should be aware of, the impact, the detriment impact it has on, on communities. And we see what this country has done in its counterparts, Canada and other so-called Canada and other parts with their, these gangsters, what they do to, for oil, for oil, blood, it's real talk. And so, what can we in solidarity? Who can we write? What can we, give us that your contact, that page again? How we can we can really up the ante with this solidarity, comrade. How can we do it?
Okay, tinyhousewarriors.com. Check it out. Share our content. I'm going to be there on August 29th and 30th in Chicago. I would like to meet everybody that wants to meet up and do work together. So looking forward to being there and meeting up with everybody that's saying they're going to be there. So
right on. Y'all heard that live and direct. You know what I'm saying? We got people coming in from all over. Yeah, Comrade Connor's going to be on deck. King going to be, people coming from all over the world. Going to be August 29th and August 30th for the Chairman Fred Street Party. Comrade, again, keep us posted. So we got your back like a backpack and your chest like a bulletproof vest. In the spirit of continue solidarity, revolutionary love, revolutionary respect. Keep us posted. Y'all make sure y'all tap in, share her posts, share those posts from the comrades on the end. Again, in the spirit of solidarity. Keep us posted. Keep us posted, comrade. Comrade, you still there? Are we losing?
Yeah, Fremont.
Oh, Fremont. Okay, I know you're gonna be cutting this off in about another minute or something. Any closing comments for you? Any closing comments?
I just want to say thank you for having me on here. It's always a pleasure and honor to continue to do the Rainbow Coalition work with you and everybody. I'm just glad that we can connect and always just build in solidarity with this champ.
Right on. We honored and we humble, comrade. We see you on the 29th and 30th. We're gonna be keeping in contact even before then, So again, we're gonna keep in contact, keep us posted. Right on. Free them all. We live and direct, y'all. We're about to close out. Sister Comrade, I know I had this brother C online. He supposed to give us an update on somebody that was locked up. See if you still online. Give us a call next week. Sister Comrade Daphne, did you is Solomon C? Is he online?
Free him all, Brother Chairman. Yes, he is.
Free him all. Get in. Come on, real quick. See, are we pushing it? They're gonna cut us off another 1 or 2 minutes.
Free him all, Brother Tony.
Yes,
How we looking?
yes, I have a great sister, Demetrius Champion on the line. He's representing the good brother, Emmett Wright. He's been incarcerated wrongfully for I think like a double murder, something since a juvenile. and we try to give him some exposure. Chairman, go ahead, Demetrius.
Welcome, free moderator Demetrius. Right on.
Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear.
All right. Okay, yes. So my brother has been locked up for 24 years in the Galesburg Correctional Center, and he is coming up for his clemency here on September 7th in Chicago. And let me just get, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it.
So yes, on the 7th, he'll be there. He'll be in courtroom 931-31.
The downtown court, federal court. What the clemency hearing being held at? Thompson Center. Dimitri. Hello, sister. She there? We losing?
Yes. I'm here.
Okay. The Thompson Center. Where was the hearing to be held at?
Thompson Center, yes. On September 7th and courtroom 9-31 at the James R. Thompson Center in Chicago, Illinois. Any supporting letters can be sent out to a couple of addresses here in Winnebago. Reach out. They could reach me at demetriuschampion@gmail.com. And we had just been working on a lot of different things with his clemency and some of the new laws that I had passed that he was able to get in. Wanted to share that information with your audience, such as the law, the Senate Bill 2333. This law is allowing anybody who has served over 20 years re-entry back into Illinois that Governor Pritzker just passed, piggybacking on what your first caller was talking about. But definitely a lot of different things has happened that has given opportunities for brothers and sisters to be able to get back in court and get out, especially if they've been there for a while or were juveniles. Like they said about the science that came out with the brain and everything like that. But this is just information that I feel like, people need to know about, but also wanting to just say that if there was any support as far as supporting letters or anything that anyone would be able to send in, then they could just reach me at that Gmail account and I can give them that forwarding information.
Spell it, Demetrius, if you can't spell it.
With your callers, so I just didn't want to take up too much.
No problem. No, can you spell the name out for us? The Gmail account, the Gmail. Can you spell it for us?
Absolutely. It is Demetrius Champion. No dots, no spaces. It's D as in David, E-M-E. T as in Tom, R as in Robert, I-U-S as in Sam. Champion@gmail.com.
He says September 7th. We gonna contact you and also write letters of support. Are we specifying? Are we distinguishing this as clemency based on innocence? Or we just saying basic clemency, clemency in general? Are we asking for pardon? Are we recent? He was a juvenile when he's taken in, correct?
Well, separate from the clemency. Yes.
Okay, so that's September 7th September 7th courtroom. My fault. I apologize. Go ahead.
9-31.
Okay.
9-31 is the courtroom at the Thomas R Center.
Thompson Center. That's two. Do you? I can't recall the address right now. What's the address? You know the Thompson Center address?
Thompson Center address. I have all of this information. Absolutely.
Okay. We'll put. Okay. What's his name? Also, what is his name? What is his name? Emmett Wright. EWMIT, 2 T's.
Yeah.
WRIGHT.
It's at 100 West Randolph Street in
Right.
Chicago.
Right on. That's it. Okay, 100 West Randolph Street. Okay.
It's and it is WRIGHT.
We need warm bodies, y'all. We need people down there September 7th. They might have a list of people, but unless I think. Huh? Excuse me.
Also, Brother Chairman, the brother is he belongs to the Nation of Islam now. Over 20 years, brother changed his life. He's a great speaker. He's a great motivator to the youth. He's been them with the prisons, man. Positive movement among all the people. The guys in the jail should know him. He's very known. I met him in Rockford, and he was a very dear brother of mine. And he was on point at every level. He went down to juvenile, and I was one of his leaders. So that's why he reached out to me, and that's why I reached out to you, my brother. If you can reach out to any prominent brothers in the nation, you know what I'm saying? This brother is like that. He puts the nation like no other in that state prison system. So please reach out to this brother because he needs y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? He changed his life. He was juvenile when he went down. He's ready to live his life out here and take care of his family and do what's right.
Well, just a little FYI, this is the brother right now, Solomon C, who called in last week, brother who called in last week, who I grew up with, who I, you know, saying, that's who's speaking now. Just little FYI, brother, who I got the utmost love and respect for. Do you do you have an ID number we can write him to or send support, or do you recommend that also, or just push all our energy on getting out to the clemency hearing September 7th?
We can definitely send out his number and definitely the support at the clemency hearing. His number is Kevin 67690 at the
Galesburg Hill Correctional Center, Galesburg, Illinois 61001, I believe. 646, right? I remember that by heart. Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So feel free since we here on Wednesdays, call back in, keep us posted. I think we got a couple more shows before September. We do have a couple more shows before September 7th. We can't push this enough. We can't reiterate enough. I said, Brother C has this month. I mean, I got I know him. We grew up together. Feel free. As you see, we traveling all over the world about cases. So we have an international listener audience. So do not hesitate to call back next week and keep us posted. And don't feel that you that it's a burden or we being a worry or nothing like that. Again, let's push this again. Let's push intensely for the September 7th hearing at the Thompson Center, 100 West Randolph, courtroom 9-31-31. I know they have a number of hearings, but let's be there on the safe side. Make sure we on deck at 9 o'clock a.m., September 7th. And again, call back in.
Brother Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Brother Ken Ivy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, please plug me in with that brother. I believe I can do great things. Me and we do great things. Him on that side, me in Chicago. You know, all the support I got in Chicago, all the guys.
We on it. He gonna be here. He gonna be here live and direct on the 29th and 30th. But I'll make sure I get that connect. I'll plug y'all together, no doubt about it. Yes, sir. Before then, I do ASAP. I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother.
Anytime, anywhere. Love, respect, y'all. We went a little overtime, y'all. But hey, again, we had to, y'all. Thank y'all, Intellectual Radio. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all, Freedom on Radio. Thank y'all, comrades. Live in the race. Make history, take history, tape history. Sister Comrade Daphne. Oh man, Daphne. Next week we got to come on deck. Y'all seen this? Sister Comrade on the deck out there. Alexis Wilson, the case in Dalton, Illinois. Comrade Cool and others is on the ground out there, y'all. We need them updates, Sister Comrade, if you can next week. Also, the case at the gas station. Next week, we need updates. Comrade, I know we got a lot of updates about that. We gotta get again, revolutionary love and respect. Y'all go to Sister Comrade Queen Daphne's Facebook page. You know what I'm saying? Again, I mean, you see, ironic, but not ironic, what we dealing with right there in Dalton, and like I think walking distance, the case where the sister was beat inside the gas station trying to go to the bathroom. So, Sister Comrade Daphne, we need you to, again. We go next week. Give us those updates. Revolution, love, respect, y'all. Sister Comrade, I know we went over time. What you got? What you got to take us out with?
Brother Chairman, free them all.
Free them all.
Ma'am, when the change don't come.
So you're right.
What's going on, man? Yes. Free them all.
Free them all. And Revolutionary salute to the Comrade Daphne. We got the updates. We still hearing the buzzing. Man, people's pain reflects. I'm Dalton. Free them all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
That's crazy how they beat that girl. I saw that video, man.
Hey, they say, look.
Did they arrest the boy?
Yeah, but check this out. His page. They didn't.